that all down, let's get things started with this. Superman, still in theaters, still making money and all that kind of stuff, but it did something that a number of people, including me, had wondered about whether it could actually do. Could it actually break even? And according to box office data that's now come in, Superman has now passed the break-even point. Now, some people like myself has said for a year or two that Superman may not break even, but it doesn't really need to. The argument I've made for a long time is when you have a property as totally in the sewer and completely annihilated and destroyed as the DC property became as a result of the DCEU.
Don't mince words, John. Don't mince words.
Don't mince words. Say what you really think. And when you've completely lost the entire audience, as proven by the statistical data of the box office results of the last 5, 6, 7 DCEU movies that came out, we always said that the number one job of Superman was not to make money. It was to play a part to make sure future movies can make money. If you're small-sighted and short-sighted, you just look at Superman and hope it makes money. If you're big picture person, if you're long-term sighted, you're seeing what does this play a part in the overall health and success of the larger cinematic universe. And Superman did that. 80+% critic rating, 90+% audience rating, A- cinema score. So it did all that. And now with the cherry on top, as we look over at Box Office Mojo, Superman has now crossed, by the way, it's like 156 million now. But we did this calculation the other week. There are two basic formulas, very basic, very rudimentary, very general idea formulas that people use to kind of figure out what's the break-even point for a movie. The most common one people use is production budget multiplied by 2.5. That's the one most people use. I believe the more accurate reflection of that, even though it's still just general and ballpark, is production budget plus marketing budget, then multiplied by 1.5. Either way, both results end up in the $550 to $555 million range for the break-even point. So whichever formula you use, whether it's the popular one or the one that I use, Superman has now passed the break-even point and has become profitable. Rob, to me, the idea of Superman becoming profitable was always that of gravy. This is just bonus. This is extra. Warner Brothers and James Gunn aren't looking at this new DCU in terms of 1 year. They're looking at it in terms of 10 years. And I've said for a long time, this entire franchise is absolutely screwed if people don't like Superman. Because if you never get a second chance to make a first impression, if you come out of the gate bad, when all the stuff that comes before you is bad, you're dead. You're dead in the water. No pressure, James Gunn, but you were dead in the water. It accomplished it, and on top of accomplishing it, it is now, every dollar it makes will be profitable. Which is good news. Again, I don't think it's the most important thing in the world for this movie, but the fact that it's crossed this threshold is pretty good. I still believe this movie deserves more than it got, but that's what you're going to get when everybody's kind of given up. And it doesn't help that the other company up the street making comic book related material for the past 5 years has been very hit or miss. So I think this is something they need to celebrate a lot, Rob. Anyway, you're seeing that it's now crossed that arbitrary break-even point, now become profitable. How significant or not significant is that for this? What do you see it?
I want to point out it's still going to earn out all August long. I mean, it's still going to earn a lot more money. I mean, it was still doing $2 and $3, $4 million during the week last week, and it doesn't have a lot of competition this week. And before people are going to school, they'll get more viewings in. Same is true of Fantastic Four. And there's also, there's other revenue streams. For instance, you have to remember all the partnerships they have with products. They've got all kinds of companies, and they pay in to have these partnership deals to the studio. There's a licensing fee for movies these movies don't get to go on HBO Max for free. They have to pay some kind of I know it's within the same studio, but money is changing hands. And there's an alternative revenue streams. You're going to have SVOD or VOD, and there's all kinds of things the movie's going to earn for a long time. And not only that, John, like you pointed out, they've spent money. They've already made Supergirl. That production budget's been spent. I mean, they're already, that's not true because they're
Lanterns,
still, they're in post
Peacemaker
Lanterns.
Season 2.
So they haven't just spent the money for Superman. They've spent the money for TV shows, animated shows, other feature films. They probably paid writers to write Titans and to write Clayface. And so there is a large expenditure that's been put out. And like you pointed out, like a TV show does not break even to like the third or fourth season if it's successful. Most TV shows, if they don't run more than one season, they don't make money. They're a losing proposition. So I think a lot of people, you know, the way especially the fan community calculates value, they don't understand there's a lot more to it than just box office numbers. And the movie is still earning out. It could earn another $100 million.
It could, yeah.
You know, and so we'll see. You know, we'll see where it goes. But look, I think this is a good. If you look at the rest of the DC universe, as you pointed out, this has outgrossed all the DC movies we've seen over the last half decade.
I saw a report that said it's the first, if you take out the Elseworld movies of Matt Reeves' The Batman and the Joker, if you take out the Elseworld movies.
Yeah.
I think they said this is the first profitable, now that it's profitable, it is the first profitable DC Cinematic Universe movie since the first Shazam film.
Right, okay. And that makes sense. I mean, obviously, the Batman and the Joker certainly was an anomaly because you got to offset the Joker 2 Folie et Deux because, you know, now the Joker movies are two movies. And if you really want to look at it, you have to calculate the box office of both and find out was that franchise, even though every movie's its own thing, but still, whatever money the Joker made, and it was one of the most successful movies ever in terms of expense to return ROI.
Made big money.
Joker 2 wiped all that out, you know, and so it's always interesting when people are calculating how much money a movie made. And I've always found that to be strange because we'll talk about adjusted for inflation and all that. You made a great post about that today.
Just but for context. Here are the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here are the last 8 movies released by the DCEU. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom lost money. Made $433 million. Got close to breaking even. Blue Beetle lost money. Made $129 million. The Flash lost money. Made $271 million. Shazam! Fury of the Gods lost money. Made $134 million. Black Adam roughly broke even. I'm going to give that to it roughly broke even. Black Adam made $393 million. Suicide Squad, a lot of asterisks with that, came out during the pandemic, a lot of theaters closed, day and date release on HBO Max, but still $168 million. Wonder Woman 1984, a lot of the same asterisks though, $169 million. And Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey and the One Emancipation of Harley Quinn, that lost money. This is, for cinematic universes, the biggest hit DC has had
by a wide
margin in years.
Yeah.
And remember, the main mission of this movie was just to do repair, was just maintenance and rehabilitation. And it ended up being the biggest hit that they've had in forever how long. Again, if you're not taking into account the Elseworld movies of the brilliant Matt Reeves, the Batman, and at least the brilliant first Joker film. So that's pretty significant when you look at the context.
Yeah. No, and look, I'm excited. What I'm also excited about is the box office in general this summer seems to have the money is spread around between a lot of different films. We've seen How to Train Your Dragon be successful. F1 has been successful. Apple's first real foray into theatrical releases through Warner Brothers. That has been successful. And it's made a lot of money foreign. So, you know, I like seeing that the box office is healthy. It might not be at pre-COVID levels, but still, you know, and we're going to see 2 movies opening this week, Weapons being one. I think Weapons is also going to make money. Warner Brothers is having a good year.
They are. After a slow start.
Yes.
After a slow start, and when I say year, I mean the past 12 months. A little bit of a slow start. By the way, I'm seeing some discussion of things like, wait a minute, I thought I heard Superman needed $750 million to break even. There's so many people throwing out bullshit numbers.
Well, it's because of the tax break number that was reported in Ohio.
Well, I mean, regardless, though, the basic premise is, again, we'll go with the common one, not the more accurate one that I use. Production budget, which was $220 million, multiplied by 2.5. That's the number everybody uses. That's the number they use on every movie. Superman, $220 million production budget, multiplied by 2.5 is 550. It's past that. If you use my model, which is production budget plus marketing budget, total result multiplied by 1.5 The result is 555, which it crosses today. So either way, whatever, don't listen to all this noise and bullshit that people pull out selective numbers and try to make things sound whatever. This is the number. 550 was what it needed to cross, and it got there. And again, as to Rob's point, that's not even taking into consideration all the other auxiliary money that comes in. But since we don't really talk about that when we talk about other movies anyway.
Well, that's not part of the budget of the film.
Yeah, and it's not part of the budget. So we'll leave that be it. But there we are. And this movie, again, to me, whose number one job was just maintenance and rehabilitation, actually became the biggest hit they've had in, well, forever when it comes to their cinematic universes.
Yeah.
Question is for you guys. What do you guys make of this? I, for a long time, said this movie doesn't even need to make money. What it needs to do is to start to win the audience back. And it looks like it's done both. I think that's pretty significant. Anyway, whatever you guys think about that, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.